Hello everyone, this is Orlando from A Collector's Dream, and today I want to talk about one player, and that is George Adee. And you may say, who is George Adee? George Adee was a very, very important person in early history of football and tennis, and even contributed some in golf. So George Adee went to school at Yale. And one of the things I like about collecting cards is that, a lot of times, people buy the card and just kind of put it away, and there it is in the collection. But me, as someone who likes history, I knew a little bit about George Adee, that he was a quarterback for Yale. But when you go back and you really read about the player and the man, who he was, that's where you really find out really how important some of these people on these small little cardboard pieces of paper are. And that's what I love about this hobby. And that's why I think that, it's something that people really need to look at. Not just, I want to collect this guy, and you see some of the young guys, all going to go after Mickey Mantle. They don't even know much about Mickey Mantle. They just know that it's worth money. And that's really, you got to look at history. So George Townsend Adee, he was born in 1874. He was an American football player and a tennis player and an official. He was the quarterback of the undefeated national champions, the 1894 Yale Bulldogs. He was selected as all first team quarterback in 1894 All-Star college football team, on the football team. So George Adee, what I like about these cards, this is the 1894 Mayo cut plug. And I've shown you before the anonymous card. And this is the Adee card. And the George Adee card does have his name down there. You can see it, Adee, from Yale. And every card in this set has the name and the school, except for that John Dunlop card. They forgot to do that. So this is from the Mayo Cut Plug for chewing and smoking. And these actually came inside tobacco tins, and that's the logo. And with the black borders, you could see, of course, chip ink and all of that. And, but this one actually doesn't have any creasing, and the picture is just beautiful. So that's what I love about these cards. Of course, it's got some chipping there. And the back of these cards are all black backed. This one has some stuff there. I don't know if this maybe paper loss. Maybe that's why I was given authentic, but someone may have kind of recolored that. I didn't really take a good look at that. But that's how the backs are. George Adee. So when you look at his Wikipedia page, this is what shows up. That's the card. I'm going to read you a little bit about George, because such an interesting guy with an interesting background. He attended Yale University, and he was the quarterback of the 1893 and the 1894 Yale Bulldogs football teams. He led the 1893 team to a 10-1 record and the 1894 team to a perfect 16-0 record. The 1894 team has been recognized as the 1894 national champions by the Billings, by all the foundations, National Championship Foundation, all that. At the end of the 1894 season, Adee was selected by both Walter Camp and Casper Whitney as the first team quarterback on the 1894 All-American College football team. So he led the team to an undefeated season, perfect season, the top quarterback in college, because there was no professional. That's George Adee. Check out that uniform. It's just how they had to tie that up. A little bit of padding, not much. But that's George Adee. Adee remained active in Yale organizations throughout his life, including service at the Yale Athletic Advisory Committee as president of the Yale Club of New York in 1931. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about that. But Adee went on to play tennis. And he was a tennis player who played 6 times in the U.S. Singles Championship. Played in the Singles Championship 6 times between 1903 and 1909. He also served as president of the United States Lawn Tennis Association, the U.S. what do you call it? USTA, the Tennis Association. He was president after he was a champion tennis player. And he was the president of the association from 1916 to 1919. And he was also a member of the Davis Cup and Amateur Rules Committee. And he was inducted into the International Tennis Hall of Fame. So you see George Adee here, but he is inducted into the Tennis Hall of Fame for what he did in tennis. So not only was he a star at Yale, top quarterback during the day, but he was also top tennis player involved with the tennis and all of the association there with the Davis Cup. A little bit more about him is that he was also in the military. He served in the U.S. Army and the Spanish-American War and World War I. He held the rank of major in the infantry during World War I, and he participated in the San Miguel Drive and the Moose-Agani Offensive. So this guy was also a veteran. Here he is. He's a veteran of the Spanish-American War, George Adee, and this is the induction into the Tennis Hall of Fame. And that's a picture of George when he was serving this country. And in his biography of the Tennis Hall of Fame, it says, George Adee, an outstanding amateur tennis player in the 1900s, as well as an All-American quarterback at Yale University, became chairman of the U.S. Davis Cup Committee and the U.S. NLTA Amateur Rules Committee and other prominent American tennis activities. He was elected into the International Tennis Hall of Fame and Museum. Adee also served as president of the United States National Lawn Tennis Association for 4 years, 1916-1919, and played in the U.S. Championship 6 times, 1903 to 1909. Also served in the Army during the Spanish-American War and World War I. So that's a little bit about him, but that's not all. I told you earlier he was also involved in golf. And I'll tell you how he was involved in golf. And when he graduated in 1895, he graduated Yale. But he was part of the alumni in Yale. And he participated in a lot of the athletic things. He was one of the ones that started Yale golf teams. And even though he was an All-American quarterback, he was an involved alumnus. He was a Wall Street broker, and he was chairman of the lawn tennis. So at that, he got involved in the Westchester Country Club. And what they wanted to do was they wanted to purchase 122 acres of land in the Orange area, directly adjacent to the it was called the Racebrook Country Club. And it was going to cost about $260,000. But a second course in Orange would still be distant from the campus. And Adee's sites turned closer to an unusual parcel of undeveloped woodland within the city limits. So the Yale team was going to build a golf course. And Adee objected to that because he said it was like an off-campus. He wanted to find a place that was closer to the campus. So this was the estate of the late Haven businessman, John Grist. Adee suggested that Yale try to obtain 120 acres or so of the extensive property, which actually bordered the Yale athletic fields beyond the Yale Bowl and stretched all the way out to Woodbridge. He noted that construction costs would be even higher because they would have to clear dense woods and deal with rock and ledge. But he urged the university that it seemed to me that a modern, up-to-date 18-hole, this is his quotes, championship golf course would be a tremendous asset for Yale University and would draw many of the most desirable men to the university. Within a few months, the university agreed and pursued the Grice option. And the project grew even grander. So it became a huge thing for Yale University. So George Adee, his contributions to Yale, contributions to tennis, contributions to football, even though there was no professional football back then, he led the team, the Yale team, to 2 championships and a perfect undefeated season in 1894. This is the end, 302, Mayo Cup plug, George Adee. This was from the first football set ever, the 1894 Mayo Cup plug. So just wanted to share a little bit about the history, and I encourage you, look at your collection. If you don't know what you have or who you have, do a little bit of research, and you'll find some very interesting things on some very interesting players. The history, to me, is so invaluable. And I enjoy it, and I hope you enjoy it too. Thanks for watching, guys. This is Orlando from A Collector's Dream, and I'll catch you on the next one.